Hello, and welcome to today's Magic the Gathering ASMR pack and opening video. Today I have two packs of collector boosters for the Kaldheim set. Now, as you can see from the artwork on the packet, the signature design key for the showcase arts in this set was a metal music style. This can be seen on the Kaldheim logo and the style of the artwork of the Viking hammer. Now, Kaldheim is a set strongly inspired by Viking mythology. There's a number of cards I'd like to pull in these collector boosters, one of which is a card called Varagoth, and I'd like to pull the showcase foil variant. That's because I'm very attached to the artwork. It's by an artist called Ian Miller, who hadn't created magic artwork for 20 years. He came back and drew the Varagoth showcase variant, and I actually have a limited edition print of that variant hanging on my wall. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get on to opening the packs. Pack 1. Now, if you've come to this video because it's a magic video, you may be wondering why I'm making strange sounds, speaking quietly, and so on. And that's because this is an ASMR video. And if you've any questions on ASMR or any queries, it's best to Google it for the answers. Here we go. Also, I apologize if this image is a bit off, whether it's been cropped or twisted. I'm recording in 4:3 mode to save memory space on my phone. Okay, and the first thing we see is a foil token, Dwarf Berserker. This is a token creature, Dwarf Berserker. And our first common card is Tuskeri Firewalker. That's a human berserker creature. Costs 2 generic mana and 1 red mana to cast. It has the effect Boast. Spend 1 generic mana. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. And the flavor text says, Toralf blessed me with fire. I am worthy of Starnheim. This is a 3/2 creature. Next we have Koma's Faithful, an elf cleric creature with lifelink. It costs 2 generic mana and 1 black mana to cast. And it says, when Koma's Faithful dies, each player mills 3 cards. The flavor text says, Great Serpent, hear my song. We wait our faith unshaken for your glorious return. and it's a 3/1 creature. Next is Wither Crown, an enchantment aura, which costs 1 generic mana and 1 black mana to cast. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has base power 0 and has, at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life unless you sacrifice this creature. We'll see each other again soon. Egon, God of Death. Now we have Scorn Effigy, an artifact creature, Scarecrow. It costs 3 generic mana to cast. With Foretell 0. During your turn, you may pay 2 generic mana and exile this card from your hand face down. Cast it on a later turn for its Foretell cost. The flavor text says, "It remembers every wound it has seen or suffered, and nothing else." Feed the Serpent, an instant. It costs 2 generic mana and 2 black mana to cast. It says, exile target creature or planeswalker. He spent the final moments of his existence tumbling down the length of the serpent's jaws, driven mad by the magnitude of the cosmos. Spectral Steel, an enchantment aura. It costs 1 generic mana and 1 white mana to cast. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. Spend 1 generic mana and 1 white mana. Exile Spectral Steel from your graveyard. Return another target aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. Kaldheim Doomscourge, a legendary creature, demon berserker. Costs 2 generic mana, 1 black mana, and 1 red mana to cast. When Kaldheim Doomscourge enters the battlefield, until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than you if able. Whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. This is a 4/3 creature. Very pretty art with the foiling. We have a snow-covered forest. This is a basic snowland forest. We have the Bears of Litliara, a saga enchantment, which costs 1 generic mana, 1 green mana, and 1 blue mana to cast. Chapter 1 of the saga. Create a 2/2 blue shapeshifter creature token with Changeling. Chapter 2 of the saga. Any number of target shapeshifter creatures you control have base power and toughness 4/4. Chapter 3 of the saga. Choose up to 1 target creature or planeswalker. Each creature with power 4 or greater you control deals damage equal to its power to that permanent. We have a borderless, or rather extended art, Ascendant Spirit. Snow Creature Spirit. Costs 1 blue mana to cast. Spend 2 snow mana, and Ascendant Spirit becomes a spirit warrior with base power and toughness 2/3. Spend 3 snow mana. If Ascendant Spirit is a warrior, put a flying counter on it and it becomes a spirit warrior angel with base power and toughness 4/4. Spend 4 snow mana. If Ascendant Spirit is an angel, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it, and it gains. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. This is a 1/1 creature. We have a foil Kaya the Inexorable. Legendary Planeswalker, Kaya. Costs 3 generic mana, 1 white mana, and 1 black mana to cast. Her abilities are +1. Put a ghost form counter on up to one target non-token creature. It gains when this creature dies or is put into exile, return it to its owner's hand and create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. -3. Exile target non-land permanent. -7. You get an emblem with, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a legendary spell from your hand, from your graveyard, or from among cards you own in exile without paying its mana cost. And that has a loyalty counter value of 5 when it enters the battlefield. Our first showcase card is Cole, the Forge Master, a legendary creature dwarf warrior, which costs 1 red and 1 white mana to cast. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, if it was enchanted or equipped, return it to its owner's hand. Creature tokens you control that are enchanted or equipped get +1/+1. And that's a 2/2 creature. We have a borderless Hengegate pathway, or it might be extended art, I'm not sure what it's called. This is a land which taps for 1 white mana, or it flips to a Mistgate pathway, which is a land which taps for add 1 blue mana, and you can choose which way round this enters the battlefield. Very useful card. Our next card is a foil Vega the Watcher, a legendary creature, bird spirit. This is a foil showcase card, which costs 1 colorless generic mana, 1 white mana, and 1 blue mana to cast. It has flying. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, draw a card. And it's a 2/2 creature. The next card is another Hengegate pathway. This is a foil extended art, or possibly borderless. And as before, you can tap it for 1 white mana, or tap it for 1 blue mana. Now I actually have 4 of these Hengegate or Mistgate pathways. I have the basic version, I have a foil version, I have a foil extended alternate art, or whatever it's called, card, and a basic extended art card. So maybe I should go Azorius, which is a blue-white color combination. Next card is a shard. It's the token. So one side of it is a shard, which has token enchantment shard on it, and sacrifice this enchantment to scry 1, then draw a card. And as we saw earlier, the other side is a dwarf berserker token creature, which is 2/1. Apologies for my camera having trouble focusing. It's just on my phone and it really isn't very good. So there's our cards. Let's open the second pack. Still keeping my fingers crossed for a foil showcase Varagoth. The foil token is a human warrior on one side. That's a token creature, human warrior, which is a 1/1. Our Our first card is Arachnoform, an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2, has reach, and is every creature type. It costs 1 generic mana and 1 green mana to cast. The flavor text says, "Deep within endless webs of clinging silk, the weaver waits." We have a Death Knell Berserker, a creature elf berserker, which costs 1 generic and 1 black mana to cast. It says, when Death Knell Berserker dies, if its power was 3 or greater, create a 2/2 black zombie berserker creature token. Sven felled the elf with an arrow through the chest, but moments later the corpse rose with a sneer to fight again. Longbeard Saga. That's a 2/2 creature. We have Struggle for Skemfar, a sorcery. This costs 3 generic and 1 green mana to cast. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then that creature fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Each creature deals damage equal to its power to the other. It has Foretell, 1 green mana. During your turn, you may pay 2 colorless generic mana and exile this card from your hand face down. Cast it on a later turn for its Foretell cost. You have Craven Hulk, a creature giant coward. This costs 3 generic mana and 1 red mana to cast. Craven Hulk can't block alone. Abandoned at birth, the giant was raised by goats. Ironically, it grew up to be the most cautious member of the herd. That's a 4/4 creature. We have Frostbite, a snow instant. It costs 1 red mana to cast. Frostbite deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you control 3 or more snow permanents, it deals 3 damage instead. Don't wander far, it's a bit nippy out there. Leader, Expedition Leader. It really doesn't want to focus on that card. Lityara Mirror Lake, a land. Lityara Mirror Lake enters the battlefield tapped. Tap. Add 1 blue mana. Spend 2 generic, 2 green, and 1 blue mana, and tap. Sacrifice Lityara Mirror Lake. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Activate this ability only any time you could cast a sorcery. Dual Strike, an instant. This costs 2 red mana to cast. When you cast your next instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 4 or less this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. This has Foretell, 1 red mana. Snow-covered mountain, a basic snowland mountain. King Nafi's Betrayal, a saga, enchantment. This costs 1 generic mana, 1 blue mana, and 1 black mana to cast. Chapter 1. Each player mills 4 cards. Then you may exile a creature or planeswalker card from each graveyard. Chapter 2 and 3. Until end of turn, you may cast spells from among cards exiled with King Navi's Betrayal, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. Doomscar, a sorcery. Destroy all creatures. This costs 3 generic mana and 2 white mana to cast, or can be foretold for 1 generic mana and 2 white mana. Extended art. Arnie Broken Brow, a legendary creature, human berserker. This costs 2 generic mana and 1 red mana to cast. Haste. Boast. 1 generic mana. You may change Arnie Broken Brow's power to 1 plus the greatest power among other creatures you control until end of turn. I headbutted a troll and won. 3/3. Svella, Ice Shaper, legendary snow creature, troll warrior. This costs 1 generic mana, 1 red mana, and 1 green mana to cast. Spend 3 generic mana and tap. Create a colorless snow artifact token named Icy Monolith with tap. Add 1 mana of any color. Spend 6 generic mana, 1 red mana, 1 green mana, and tap. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. That's a 2/4 creature. Tergrid, God of Fright. Showcase variant. This is a legendary creature god and costs 3 generic mana and 2 black mana to cast. Menace. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. This is a 4/5 creature, which is a modal double-faced card for Tergrid's Lantern, a legendary artifact, 3 generic mana and 1 black mana. Tap. Target player loses 3 life unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. Spend 3 colorless generic mana and 1 black mana, and tap Tergrid's Lantern. Carder, Doomscourge. Foil Showcase variant. Legendary creature, Demon Berserker. This costs 2 generic mana, 1 black mana, and 1 red mana to cast. When Carder Doomscourge enters the battlefield, until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than you if able. Whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. This is a 4/3 creature. Foil Showcase Tergrid, God of Fright. Legendary creature, god. 3 generic mana and 2 black mana to cast. And we've already seen this card before. It flips to Tergrid's Lantern, except this is a foil variant. And the last card is the other side of the token. The foil dragon token creature with flying. That's a 5/5. Of course, we still have our human warrior on the other side. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this pack and opening video. I suppose the best cards I've had would be the 2 Tergrid, God of Frights, the Mistgate and Hengegate pathways, and the Kaya the Inexorable. Please feel free to check out my other videos for more Magic the Gathering ASMR. As always, likes, comments, and subscribes are welcome. Now, I wish you relaxation, gentle sleep, and pleasant dreams. Good night.